Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Clean Greens Living Live. Thanks for tuning in to Clean Greens Living Live, broadcasted on Rainier Avenue Radio. I am your host, Queen Bree, and it is a rainy Tuesday afternoon. But you know what? I thank God for the abundance of rain because Clean Greens is getting ready to start planting and getting this produce ready for you guys again in the seasons to come. Right now, I want to open up with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are on traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Coast Salish past and present. And we honor with gratitude the land itself, the Duwamish, Suquamish, Nisqually, Snoqualmie, and Muckleshoot tribes. We also acknowledge what has happened on this land to impact the lives of the Black community in Seattle due to redlining. The systemic oppressive mechanism of anti-Blackness due to racism enacted by white leaders, politicians, and business people that has robbed Black families of passing down generational wealth to their families from owning their own homes. If you are one of these families that has been impacted by redlining or any other racial biases, please contact us at www.blackdollardays.taskforce.org. I want to let you guys know that Clean Greens Youth Program is now opened for registry. Let us know if you have any youth that are interested in being on our not being on our show, but yeah, being on our show too. We would love to hear from the youth. But if you have any youth interested in being a part of our Clean Greens Youth Program, the ages are 5 to 18. Why was I about to say 5 p.m.? I need to take a little sip of this coffee in a second. The ages are 5 to 18. They do get a bi-weekly stipend, and they also earn volunteer hours. So if youth like middle school, I think it is, and high school who needs community service hours, we do give that out to them. If you know anyone else who needs community service hours, please reach out to us at Clean Greens Farm and Market because we look for volunteers too. Um, so yes, and if you haven't, check us out on Instagram, on our Facebook, and take that 5-minute survey and give us some feedback on what you think, how you liking it, what are some produce that you would like to see on the farm. Please let us know. So today, I'm so excited to have Ray Williams on here from Yes Farm, and Daniel, is he in our guest room? Yay! Okay. Ray Williams from Black Farmers Collective and Yes Farm, and Christina is on here today. Christina is works with Clean Greens, and she is going to be my new co-host, and I'm so excited. So they're both on the show today. We're going to bring them both on, and we're going to talk about what Ray has going on with Black Farmers Collective.
Hi.
Hey, Ray. Hey, Christina.
Queen. Hey, Christina.
Hi, good morning.
How y'all doing?
I am doing good. How are you?
Great. You know, I'm zooming in here from my kitchen, part of the the food system, right? Cooking some food. So I'm excited to be here. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you. Oh my God! And I forgot to mention Happy Black History Month, everybody. How did I forget that? You know how I forgot that? Because January, for some reason, just flew by for the first time in history.
So it did as we're gearing up on the farms, right? Suddenly It's a new year, and it's time to start thinking about what we're going to plant and how we're going to serve the community.
Yes. Okay, and Ray, okay, I know we've had you on the show before in a while, but I don't know if we had you on a show on a Tuesday. And, because we're on a Tuesday, I just would like to reintroduce who you are and what you do. So if you can just let everybody know we can start with Black Farmers Collective. Can you talk to us about that and what exactly it is and what do you guys do?
Sure, and certainly thanks for having me on to represent. Black Farmers Collective is a small nonprofit. Really got started about 2015, 2016. as some community folks got together to farm the freeway right away in Yesser Terrace. And so we have Yes Farm, which is our flagship farm. It's on Yesser Terrace. It's been going there for about 3 or 4 years. And we love to have folks come out and support us at Yes Farm. We also have are leasing 4 acres from King County out in Redmond. And so we have a small axe farm out there. So small nonprofit, want to be inclusive, but we're really dedicated to Black leadership on the land is our key thing. So
nice. And Yes Farm, going down Yesler a little bit right before you head downtown, is off to the left.
To the left, yes. Many folks, take Yesler to get into town, and I imagine you're concentrating on driving. But if you take a look to the left, right before you cross the freeway, you'll see our greenhouse and our row crops there, and we'd love to have you come out. We actually have our first volunteer day. We have volunteer days on Saturday. And so March 4th, 10 a.m. is our first opportunity to come down and volunteer. And if you don't want to get dirty, you just want to come down and see the place, you're certainly welcome to come and check it out. Right on Yesler.
So Ray, on your farm, okay, do you, I know is it community based so people can come on there and help plant, or how does that work for Yes Farm?
Right. That's a great question. We really want to try to serve the community. I got into this looking at health disparities, especially.
Uh-oh. We'll give Ray a second to log back in, and let me make sure I have my phone on the side. Clean Greens is a small local nonprofit farm, and we are one of many. We are that technical. There we go.
Technical. I'm sorry. Jumping around here. That might have been my fault on the phone. We do offer some spaces for community members, and it's sort of like a pea patch, but it's not a pea patch program. So we do have those, and we have a few spaces, and we're actually have a manager that's going to help us get started with that. Our major product space there is used with row crops to try to have a community generated garden, and so we can get that food out to the community, whether it's to give the food that we grow to hunger relief organizations, small mutual aid, or larger, to get it to folks that come down and want to pick some of it, and a little bit into the local food system.
Okay, and when you talk about you got started due to some of the things that was happening with the food systems, you want to talk about that, like what inspired you because of the food system to get started in your local patch?
Sure, thanks. I'm a former science teacher, and at the end of my career, I started teaching nutrition and biology, and using a lot of community gardening as a place to do that. And I realized that this is a big part of our community health, and the health disparities in the Black community can be addressed by growing some of your own food and eating more healthy. And so that's really what we got me started on this. And as the organization grew, we realized that, it's not just growing your own food. It's really being aware of all the food you eat, and then also being aware of how that food got to you. So you can make choices that are good for your own health. You can also make choices that are good for the community health, shopping at Black businesses, right, to keep the money in the community. You can make choices at trying to get your vegetables the most local or the best way that if you know more about the system, you can make better choices about how you want to buy it. You can buy them wherever you want if you eat more vegetables. But if you can afford to support the local community and the local food system, then we definitely encourage people to find ways to do that. And it's through the CSA program at Clean Greens, right? You can get food that way. We're developing one, and so we're sort of a little mini, want to be like Clean Greens in some ways. Really are honestly a lot of the inspiration for the work I do has come out of the work Miss Lottie and the work that you continue to do at Clean Greens. So yeah, I think it moved from trying to get people to grow a little of their own food to really trying to influence influence the local food system in Seattle, by using some of the resources that we have. So that's what we're trying to do now. Grow some farmers, grow some people in the food system, and support Black businesses around food and anything else.
I really appreciate your shout out to Clean Greens and me and Lottie. But you know what, Ray, you are awesome. And I love how we work together. Like Ray has helped us. He's helped us do some of the planning up at Amy Yee that's coming up. So when you're ready for that CSA, I will be here. Me and Christine will be here to help you, support you with that. Like they say at Black Star Farmers, there is enough for all of us to be out here working together, collaborating with each other, and helping us build each other and build these food systems so that people can learn how to grow their own food, eat healthy. And it's true. Like once you get into doing this type of work, it all just starts to unravel and unfold, and you're always learning about like farm to table, eating organic versus eating non-organic. Yeah, so I don't want to keep talking everybody's heads off. Christine, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in there. But
I don't. I want to pick Ray's brain.
well,
So
wait, before you pick Ray's brain, I just want to remind everybody, if you're just tuning in, you're tuning into Clean Greens Living, broadcasted on Rainier Avenue Radio. I am your host, Queen Bree. We have my co-host Christina Chambers in the house, and we have our lovely Ray Williams from Yes Farm and Farmers Collective. Um, Christina, you can go ahead and ask your question, and we're going to just pick Ray's brain in a second.
okay, Ray, can you the last show that I was on with Bree, we were talking about soil testing, and that's also something that I worked on this past summer with Wanawari. Can you talk about the importance of soil testing, especially in urban areas?
Sure. We encourage folks to grow their own food, but we don't really support folks as well as we should. I think on the institutional level about what's in the soil. You can get free soil testing from King Conservation District for the nutrients your plants would need in the soil, but it's the next level to actually test the soil to see if there might be something in there, some urban soil pollution. And so we encourage people to reach out, and I think you can reach out to us at Black Farmers Collective at Gmail and ask about the soil testing. We have a partnership with Dr. Malone out of UW Bothell. We're trying to support folks to get their soil tested. You can have some pollution from the lead paint in your old house, right? You can have some pollution depending on where you are near highways, depending on what was on your site before. And so, if you're not pretty sure it's been a nice yard for 100 years away from the house, then that you could consider getting the soil tested. You mentioned Wanawari, they got tested, and so there's things you can do, some remediation for that soil. But if you don't know what's there and you're worried about that, then definitely reach out, and we can give you some resources to try to help you get tested and try to find some funds. It's not cheap, but it's certainly worth it, especially if you're growing a lot of food, in your yard.
For people who are like me, I just want to break this down just a little bit more with the soil testing. So it's important to test your soil, especially if you're growing at home, because as we promote organic eating, whatever you're growing your food on affects that growth. I'm sorry. So basically, when you're planting the produce, the soil is absorbing into the produce. So if you have toxins or pollution from, like Ray said, houses, or let's say, like I live near a car shop, so I would definitely probably want to get my soil tested, because who knows if that pollution is being brought into my yard due to raining and all kinds of flooding that happens around. So that's why it's important for us to get our soils tested, especially for growing from home. And like he said, there's ways to, if you test your soil and it turns out your soil is not healthy to grow on, there's different ways that you can either build healthy soil, right, correct me if I'm wrong, or build on top of that soil. Look, I'm learning some stuff.
Yeah, that's that. Very well said. Very well said. I think, different parts of plants take up different pollutants. Certainly don't want people growing in toxic soil, but I wouldn't get too worried about the danger. First, definitely thing to do is to wash your vegetables like we ask folks to do. And really, this is a practice that should be practiced all over the city. Is that you think about if your shoes are dirty, that you try to keep that dirt outside the house. I certainly take my boots off before I come in the house. I could not get away without that, actually. And so that's the first thing, is to try not to get bring some of that in, and then wash the vegetables. And we could share more. We don't want to do the whole show on this. I think if you really did an analysis, really washing well and eating more fresh vegetables is really going to be a lot better for you in the long run than the worrying about the toxins. But if you're planting next to your old garage that has paint from 100 years ago, then you need to consider testing that soil and cleaning it up. Yeah.
And speaking of like where we're talking and where we're learning, you guys do training over at, I don't know if it's training, but you guys teach, because I know we brought the kids over there and you guys walked them around the garden and talked to them about stuff. So do you guys do trainings over at Yes Farm and teach people about growing produce?
Yes, if you come by Yes Farm, and again, the start is on the Saturday work parties, you can learn a lot about how to grow, how we grow food, and give you some examples of how you might grow food at home. We also do, some training. Certainly, school classrooms come by there. Community groups come by. We get the youth from Clean Greens to come down and help us out. So it is definitely an opportunity to learn, as well as meeting people in the community, getting outside, doing some community work, building some relationships with folks around in the community. There are a lot of reasons, I think, to try to get into gardening and growing a little bit. Again, from the exercise to getting outside to being connected with nature to stress relief, from being part of a community that cares about you, right? All these things, along with you're growing some food, you get a chance to take home some fresh greens, let's say from Yes Farm. We share a little bit about how to cook them. If you don't know, you get over that barrier of turning this leaf into something tasty. A lot of things can be learned just by coming out and joining us, I think. And I think that's really what the message I'd like to share is, again, we have some brilliant young Black farmers there, but we want to be inclusive in terms of everybody coming down, learning what's going on, getting a chance to follow some directions from, a young person is not a bad lesson for old folks too, right? In terms of how do you start to move, in the society. Again, March 4th, I'm going to say it again, is our first 10 o'clock, Yes Farm. It's 721 Yesser Way. It's not an address. It's behind the bus stop there. You'll find it if you look over in Yesser Terrace. I definitely wanted to get that plug in. And then, a real plug, Black Farmers Collective. We have a Facebook page, Instagram, which I do not do, but the young folks do. And we really just encourage folks to know what we're doing, to try to support us, to be part of this community, or get connected to other communities. If you're not close to Seattle, we know folks that are farther out, right? Maybe there's a spot we can help you get somewhere else. Again, just really interested in getting folks connected.
Thank you. And getting people ready to farm. So, you know what? Can we pivot a little bit to Black History Month? I know a lot of the times when I talk about farming, because you you named some great benefits of learning to garden, learning to get out here and volunteer on Yes Farm, our Clean Greens farm, and doing the work. You get fresh produce, you get organic produce, you get out and you get a feel, you get connected back to the earth. But a lot of people, some people's connections to the earth is connected to slavery
Right.
when it comes to farming. And a lot of black farmers was very, like, I watched 1692, and a lot of black people they were very, what is the word I'm looking for? They were into farming back in the day. I mean, I know there was some systemic principles that pushed them out, but farming for me, I feel is in, I mean, not for when I feel, what I know is in our culture, is in our roots. So how do you guys work around those barriers?
That's a great question. I think and I went through school here, and the story I heard, of course, was that our people were enslaved, or that was it. You were this labor.
Yeah.
And it really could actually not be farther from the truth. The African American contributions to agriculture in the United States and the world are very important. I think my parents' generation and before, they tried to get off the land, and we're trying to get folks back on. I think if I can share that this country was built on. We talk about cotton, but this country was really built on rice. And so it was the African stolen labor and knowledge that built the U.S. rice, Carolina rice, right? The coasts of the country started growing rice to feed a new nation. And so that was a huge contribution to the building of this country, which we really don't talk about. There's a book, Black Rice. Judith A. Carney writes about this, and if folks want to look it up. I want to talk about, we heard of George Washington Carver about all the peanut, products he did, but, he was about crop rotation. He was about using those peanuts to put nitrogen back into the soil. He was the original regenerative farming guy in the United States. And we talk about that now, but he encouraged folks to go to the swamps and get the muck and get it to the garden, right? Compost, to put that stuff back in the garden. I can talk about Booker T. Watley, who was at Tuskegee as well, who was about farm business, the small farmer operation. He started the Clientele Membership Club, which became our CSA, right? This is a Black community trying to support itself, right? By creating this first CSA. Folks, inventors of ways to plant. Frederick Jones, the refrigerated truck, built an industry on refrigerated trucks to bring us around. And I've got my list here. You can't forget Fannie Lou Hamer. Of course, she's famous for the Mississippi Democratic Party, but she had a freedom farm. She realized that you needed to support Black farmers, and there would not have been a freedom summer and the civil rights movement, if there had not been Black farmers to house these young people that came down, to be the people that supported this. So, I think Black farming in the United States has been crucial to U.S. history, crucial, and we don't hear about it. And so that's my 4-minute Black history speech. I think I really encourage folks to think about farming not as this horrible enslaved operation, which it was, right? And not just to think that the U.S. wealth was built on the backs of Black people on native land, right? Stolen native land, right? But the fact that it wasn't just the labor, but it was a genius that actually created this, right? And then you could be proud of the history. Farming is not, farming's a lot of work. Christina knows, but it's so rewarding. And so that's what I guess that would be my Black History Month. Little bit of a speech. There's so many more people that were involved in this, in this vital, food system that we have. And we need to start thanking them. We need to be proud of where we came from. I'm mixed race, so I claim that Black side. I work for the Black community. You live in a society that is has so much segregation. You really have to choose. You can be your own identity, but if you want to serve a community, you need to choose.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're trying to do. I think raising up the young people in the area to be able to learn how to grow their own food, but also learn how to serve in whatever ways that their gifts ask them to, right? Whatever calling you've got, we can support that work.
Thank you. Well, first of all, can you share that list with me? Because there are some names I hadn't heard, please. And like I said, I watched 1619. It's on Hulu, and the first episode talks about the contribution of slaves and Black people in building this community, this country, and it talks about agriculture, and it talks about the rights and just things that people have to go through to build this nation. Mm-hmm. And why it's important for us to talk about this history, because there's things that people don't know about that we need to know about, the contributions of African Americans in this country. But that is our time, guys. This was a really good show, Ray. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me here.
You're welcome. And don't forget, March 4th, 10 a.m., Yes Farm.
Yes Farm. And Black Farmers Collective on Instagram, Facebook, webpage. So we love to connect with you. Love to build community here.
Bye, guys. See you next week for our 100th episode.
Woo! $3.99. Okay.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
You
Thanks.
Too. You're welcome.